Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Ben Parks, 225 marathoner and running coach, and yes, we want to get you back running safely and having fun again after your injury. Right guys, really looking forward to this one and bringing you some tips and tricks on how to get back out running safely again. As always with these videos, this is just what I would do in these situations. The best person you can see in this is a physiotherapist, a sports massage therapist, sports therapist, or your healthcare professional. So please get out and seek some professional advice from them. These are just some tips and tricks on what I would do in these various situations. If you're looking for some help and support from a physiotherapist, my physiotherapist is called Scott Newton, a London running physio. I'll put his details down below. With running, it is an incredibly difficult sport. It's super hard. Injuries, unfortunately, are just part of that. We do our best to eliminate them as best we can, but it's always pretty much impossible to be running as much as we would like to be running. It's a full weight-bearing sport. And yeah, it has a lot of pounding on our body, and as we get older and things, it becomes even harder. So I've got a little video coming up soon all about the mental health aspects of running, so subscribe for that, that will be here soon. Right guys, we're going to split this video up into 7 different sections. So we're going to start out with the first section of how do we know when we can run again? What are the signs there? What are the little tests we can do to make sure it's going to be safe to go out running again? We're then going to move on to what we're going to do if you've been off for less than 10 days, then 10 to 20 days, and then more than that sort of 20-day period. We're then going to go on to talk about how much fitness you might have lost during this period and how quickly you might be able to gain that back. And then finally, a little quick fire section at the end, talking about things like strength work, little tips for your runs and how to go about your runs, to talk about cross training, and some little diet things in there at the end as well. Right, sit back, relax, let's get stuck into this with how we know when we can go running again. So there's 4 key indicators I feel for when we know we can go running again. You want to be able to do all of these things pain-free, not one after another. You want to give yourself a little bit of a break, but you should be able to go for around about a 30 to 40 minute walk pain-free. Also, you want to be able to hop on your bad side, if we were talking about a leg injury here, for 20 hops, again, pain-free. About 20 to 30 single leg calf raises, again, pain-free. And also, it's a good idea to practice running on the spot for around about 100 strides, just running there on the spot. And as I keep saying, all of these should be pain-free. If you can get through that, then it's more than likely you're going to be able to start running again. If you are experiencing pain at the site of injury or around that sort of area, no harm in that. You just want to take a few more days, carry on with your strength work, carry on with your rest, and come back to these tests soon. You don't want to be doing this too soon, because if you re-injure yourself, then it's just going to go back to square one. So take your time, it will be worth it in the long run. So starting out for less than 10 days, you might have been off for around about a week or something like that. We want to make sure that injury is definitely gone. So I'm putting a little idea of a return to running program on the screen now. This starts out with some run walks. Run walk is so important for everybody, for an Olympian or a beginner runner. Run walk is going to form a big part of this return to running. So the first run out there is 5 minutes at your general easy pace, then 5 minutes walking, repeating that 3 times for a 30-minute run and walk out there. You want to be giving your body time to recover in between those running periods and time to strengthen up again. After each of these runs, we're going to be having a rest day again, so our body can recover from that. Second run, 8 minutes running, 2 minutes walking, again repeating that 3 times for the 30-minute run, and then resting, and then go on to a 14-minute run, 1 minute walk, and repeating that 2 times again for the 30-minute run. If all of that is fine and you're doing that pain-free, then you're going to be able to continue back on your plan. I would avoid doing any speed sessions or any long runs for another week, and keeping your runs all nice and low intensity and easy pace during this first sort of 2-week period back. After that, you should be able to get back onto your plan as normal and carry on your training. Now, if you've been out for a little bit longer, around about 10 to 20 days, some of your muscles are going to have lost a bit of power and support there, and also your bones might have degraded a little bit because they're just not used to that pounding and that strength work that you get from running and doing your strength work as well. So we need to be a little bit more cautious in our approach to return to running now. So again, like before, I'm going to put an example plan on the screen here for your first 2 weeks back. I won't go through exactly every run, but essentially you're going to be doing a lot of running and walking breaks in this, building up to around about 30 minutes for your run. I would suggest doing some strength work during your running days as well. So maybe run in the morning and then do some strength work in the afternoon or evening to continue that work you've been doing to get back to your running. On your rest days, keep them as rest, try to maximize your sleep and getting as much recovery in there as possible. After around 2 weeks of this, you should be back in a position to be able to start your plan again. And again, you want to be doing that first sort of week of just low intensity stuff, building back into it before you start doing some of that speedier work and your long runs again. Moving on, if you've had around a month or longer off from running, you really are starting, not completely from scratch, as we'll come on to soon, but yeah, you're going to be wanting to really return to running very gradually. This is essentially a lot of run walks, but we're just building up even slower here, concentrating very much on those rest days and carrying on with your strength work. You might want to be adding some cross training in here as well. Something like this, it very much should be done in conjunction with your physiotherapist or your doctor or your healthcare professional, just to check how you're progressing through the plan. Through all of this, you really want to be making sure you're pain-free and not aggravating that injury. If you are experiencing some pain, then obviously please stop, go and see your physiotherapist again and get some advice on what you should be doing. Right, moving on, how much fitness are you going to likely to have lost and how quickly can you build it back? Well, if you've been off for around about that 7 to 10 day mark, most people will be starting to lose a little bit of fitness at that stage, but you really won't have lost all that much. It will feel a little bit clunky when you get out running again, and you probably feel like it's a little bit harder work, and that can just be as our muscles are building back up again in our form. It all just feels a little bit extra lethargic, but deep down inside in your heart and lungs, you really won't have lost that much fitness in this time. If you've had around 2 weeks off, approximately you're going to lose around about 5 to 7% of our fitness or our VO2 max. Around about 2 months off, around 20%, and up to around 3 months off, around about 30% of our VO2 max. If you're an Olympian, an elite athlete out there, you're going to be able to maintain your fitness and build it back a lot quicker than you can if you're a newer runner out there. In terms of how quickly you can build it back, it's not going to take as long as you had to do it on the first time, because each time we go out and train, it becomes a little bit easier. But yeah, as I say, newer runners, it is going to take a little bit longer to build back than more experienced runners. But don't worry, we're all in this for the long run. Moving on to some quick fire points at the end. If you have been doing some strength work as part of your recovery, please keep doing it. It's such an age-old thing with runners. As soon as they get out running again, all of that stops and people can't be bothered to do anymore. But it's really important to keep that strength work once or twice a week in your plan, regardless of whether you're injured or not, to keep our body nice and strong. So stick to it. In those early days runs, you want to make sure you're running close to home, just in case something happens. Don't go for a really long out and back, something like that. You don't want to get stranded far away from home. So do some loops around your house, some loops on an athletics track, or possibly on a treadmill, because then should something happen, fingers crossed it won't, you're very close by to be able to get some help and support if you need to. If you want to add some cross-training into your routine, it can only really be a good thing if you've got time. Things like being on an exercise bike, on a rowing machine, on things like a stepper, or going swimming as well. Again, you can add these into your plan, but please try to keep those rest days as rest days, and I would suggest adding little and often these type of things into your running days. As you build back up into your plan, just keep that golden 10% rule in there. If you're going to be devising your own plans, you don't want to be adding more than 10% extra distance each week. The final few points here is very much try to keep your ego in check. Now, it is very difficult with social media world we live in to go out and try and be running too fast. If you want to use a heart rate monitor to keep yourself in that zone 2 heart rate zone for when you're out training, these should be all low intensity, easy runs in these first days to limit that impact on our body as much as we can. So forget about pace, forget about everything, just focus on the time you're out there running and keep it as low intensity as possible. And finally, just have a little bit of a extra focus in these days on making sure you're getting your protein in, and also if you've had a sort of a bone or a stress injury like that, then making sure you've got your calcium and your vitamin D. Try and get these obviously from as best sources as you can. I'm not here to lecture people on their diet or anything, but just having that focus on your protein and that calcium and vitamin D to build up your bones as well. So there we go, guys. Hopefully some pointers there. I really want you to get back running and enjoying the amazing sport as soon as possible and be back on that start line too. As I said earlier, running is a really difficult sport with injuries, and it's just something we all unfortunately have to go to from time to time. But in the long run, it is all worth it. Stay safe out there, listen to your body and listen to what it's telling you. Don't be afraid to adapt your plans, and as always, we're here to help you with anything you need in your training. Check out the website, benparks.com. We've got the best running hats and singlets and tees out there. Thanks very much, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.